Yeah, but it's such a dear book. I'll see if I can get some tape.
And we're
Never start yet. But he's not gonna check it tonight.
no,
Like,
you're right. It's like having the time.
do you think Poopy's gonna
I'm hoping not.
look at anything over break?
Over break, yeah, but like not tonight.
I'm thinking over break, like maybe he'll like take a he'll take a break.
He's got it. He deserves it.
Cause I'm not exactly gonna turn anything in. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe when I said I'll turn that scene Sunday, I meant this Sunday, not last Sunday.
What's your favorite story?
Favorite story? Probably like I don't know, like it'd be like Twitter.
Okay, we can just.
Travis listed.
Wait, we need to do that one.
Thanks for talking. Those are definitely movies in natural history. Well, I mean, to watch a couple movies before. You also do a guided walk. Wash your hands. Wait, they're at night? So they're like 3 hours. That's lame.
Yeah, and that's not beach. Okay. That was like you were.
I'm gonna like it.
How do you think Google is your engine browser?
Google. Yeah, it's hard. That's it. The feeling kind of goes.
It's just like a lot.
Because sometimes
The ratio is a little bit.
yeah, so the feeling. I've had something that's very cheese.
Oh, I've heard
It's like a sweet cheese. I don't like it. No offense.
No cannoli. Like I know.
Pretty sure it tastes a little bit.
Yeah, she's right
Wait, this is terrible.
there. Come on.
The lights are really better.
I'm sure that's what it is. I'll let you know.
Okay, wait, it's a little timer.
Would you like me to put it together?
You're a Yamaka man. Stop. Okay.
Wait, I didn't on that one.
Should I say come to
Anyone pull up?
the woods?
And if there's
That's
any
it.
other pages you want to
Always.
tape together, feel free. Okay.
It's early to April. May I think so.
That was beautiful.
Yeah. Have to play a little solo, but you have to really work on that.
Well, you have slow. There's nothing wrong with slow.
About that time anyway, so.
I like slow sometimes. I really do.
Yeah.
I tell my students, sometimes if we go as fast as the metronome marking is telling us to go, we kind of like miss out on so many of the other little nuances
Right.
because they fly by so quickly. And I say it's a very good reason to not do it at the speed that they want us to. Ha ha ha.
That's the published speed.
Yeah, okay, maybe it was great at the time, but for us, let's slow it down. Let's slow it down, just a little bit. No one will be the worse for it.
That's right. You got your little corner there.
I got my little corner.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear the Rodgers and Hammerstein musical Cinderella? Leslie Ann Warren played the lead in Cinderella. In my own little corner, in my own little chair, I can be whatever I want to be. So it's very nice to have a song without like,
Letter.
Go. Thank you for your little. Everybody loves everyone's talking about it. Just go.
Oh, that's kind of thanks, man.
Good Shabbos, everybody.
Yes,
Hey,
Shabbos.
David.
Hey, Howard. Good Shabbos. How you doing, Herb?
Hey, David. Thank you. How you doing? Nice to see you.
Hi, this is Erica.
Erica,
Yes.
my name's Howard.
Howard.
It's really nice to meet
It's
you.
nice to meet you as well.
Welcome.
of the door opening.
Oh, you're great. Good to see you.
Thank you so much.
Good
Yes,
job.
amazing.
Good job, Miss people. I don't know.
Yeah, I want to make sure.
I know you heard,
Yeah, I
but everybody else, good.
everyone called you shorts and a t-shirt. And I thought it was hot, so, yeah, but.
Perfect.
It's a true pleasure to meet you.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you.
Are you ready right this second?
No.
Good.
That's a good sound too.
Shabbos. Before I forget, hold on. I have something for you, Danny. Danny, don't, oh, and you have something for me. Oh, that too. I'll meet you in the back. Because I'll forget. I'll get focused and I'll forget.
Oh, that's great. Fantastic. Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's nice. You live close by?
I do, yeah, I'm in North
Knock
Carolina.
on.
Yeah.
So it's great.
Oh, that is.
Pardon me? Okay.
Good Shabbos.
Jordan's gonna need this for the carnival on Sunday. That's his grogger. He left early, so surely. No, then it was 2 weeks ago. That's right. Yeah. So Shirley said, please make it that way on Sunday, when the kids come in, we're gonna be here for the Megillah reading that goes for the
I
kids.
went to
And then they'll go,
maybe not 30.
but tomorrow night's at 7.
Like maybe not.
Yeah, we're regular days, they're 9 o'clock. Yeah. I have to work on how to arrange everything for everybody. We'll talk about it. Now the teachers basically know what to do, but we're talking about I apologize, during announcements I'll talk about it. This is definitely a Purim weekend. Tonight, the Torah portion, we will talk about Purim. Tomorrow night is the Megillah reading, 7 to 8:30ish. Please, all I can say is, we never mentioned bribery in Judaism because it's rather poor form. But on the other hand, if you come in a costume, I have a prize for it. Anyway,
Oh,
that includes the musical director as well.
good.
Yes. It's the Rebbitzin, well, they'll talk about it later. The Rebbitzin had certain ideas on what I should bring, so I did for all of you. So.
I can't wait to see what you decide.
Good. We have a minyan, so we will begin our service, and we, especially these days, believe so much that the greatest aspect of Shabbat is peace, its completeness and fulfillment. Therefore, we begin our service with Avenu Shalom Aleichem, bringing to everyone that measure of completeness and fulfillment known as peace. Please join us. Avenu Shalom Aleichem, Avenu Shalom Aleichem, Avenu Shalom Aleichem, Avenu Shalom, Shalom, Shalom Aleichem, Avenu Shalom Aleichem, Avenu Shalom Aleichem, Avenu Shalom Aleichem, Avenu Shalom, Shalom, Shalom Aleichem. Please turn to your left and then to your right and wish everybody Shabbat Shalom and Shabbat peace, completeness. Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom
Aleichem, we need you. Shalom Aleichem, we need you. Shalom Aleichem, we love you. We bring you Shalom, Shalom, Shalom Aleichem. Please turn in the Siddurim in the prayer books to page 121. As Robin leads us in the candle blessing.
As these candles, Shabbat candles, give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who had kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
And the Hebrew prayer is on page 120.
Baruch atah Adonai,
Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
We continue our songs of love on page 138. Lasadodi. How can you show love for a time period? But the truth of the matter is, as Shabbat, as we have kept Shabbat, Shabbat has kept us alive. Therefore, we owe it that magnitude of love and caring. Time to be with family, with friends, and with community. Lasadodi, page 138. Likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat. Likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat. Zafor v'dibur echad, Ishli'anu el hamiluchad. Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, L'shem u'tiferet v'tila. Harurim, Likrat Kala, Likrat Kala, Tenei Shabbat, Likala, Likala, Harurim, Likrat Kala, Likrat Kala, Tenei Shabbat, Likala, Likala, Holy Shalom, Akerem, Ma'ala, Gam Persimcha Utala, Tokemune Al Segula, Kala Hori Kala, Lechayomi, Ligrat Kala, Ligrat Kala, Tenei Shabbat, Lekala, Lekala, Lechayomi, Ligrat Kala, Ligrat Kala, Tenei Shabbat, Please turn to page 142. We know we are not alone. We know there are angels that join us on this earth. We know there are celestials who guide us when we are lost, because divine vision, all of us have looked for something at least once, one time, two times, three times, and we can't find it, and suddenly we have a vision. I'll give you an example. We have a student at the Temple School wanted to borrow, I have a collectible Darth Vader helmet. So he said, I'd like to borrow it for the Purim Carnival on Sunday. By the way, it's a regular school day for the kids. The carnival begins at 10. We'd like you to bring the kids at 9 so we can read the Megillah with them. And then, but anyway, so I looked for it all over my study, all over it. I couldn't find it. I looked here in the class, I couldn't find it. I'm sitting in my desk. I said, I know where you put it. You put it in the outside shed with the other toys. Just out of nowhere, whoop. And sure enough, I went outside and right in front. I didn't have to look for it. It was right there. So sure enough, that's the point. That was an angel giving me divine vision to find Darth Vader's helmet. It sounds a little bit ridiculous, but it's the truth. Okay. And then the kid turns out he didn't want it. But anyway, what did you do? So please join us for Shalom Aleichem on page 142 of the Sidurim. We're talking about angels, Barbara. Let us pray
I feel
together.
like I should play. That's the Darth Vader.
I know. It's like witty to go with it. But
Okay, sorry.
no, that's okay. No, because what happens is, this is called your Purim Neshama is taking over.
That's exactly.
We're getting
what's
ready for
happening.
tomorrow night. We're getting ready for those kind of things. Well, all right, now that we've started it, we'll get to this in a minute. It also gives Barbara a chance to get settled in. I always get confused. It's Lucas, not Spielberg. It's Lucas, right, for Star Wars?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, Lucas, Spielberg, you expect by now, with Schindler's List a lot, to do Judaic stuff. But what most people at the beginning of Star Wars didn't realize, if you look at the bad guys, the soldiers, what were they called? In the white suits.
Stormtroopers?
Yeah, thank you, the stormtroopers. First of all, the stormtroopers should have alerted us, but it didn't at first until we looked at their helmets. All their helmets are imitation of the Nazi helmets. You notice that? There's actually a special, I haven't seen it only once, where they actually did that with Lucas. They go for about an hour or so talking about the roots of Star Wars in the Nazi versus good guy concept. You know, the first time I taught Star Wars, I just taught it to my special ed class as a teenager who did well, right? But that's the point. There's a whole underlying level of Judaica in that thing, and even the face of, so just keep that in mind. Now that I ruined it for all of you, and you're not going to see it as a fantasy anymore. Too bad. But anyway, so thank you very much. Now we go on with our service, involving the angels who were telling me, Rabbi, shut up and get on with the service. Okay, Shalom Aleichem, everybody, on page 142.
Shalom
Aleichem, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Yihi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Malachem Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Yihi Melech. המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ברוכים השלום, מלכי השלום, מלכי עליון. מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. צריכם לשלום, מלכי השלום, מלכי עליון. מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. Announcement time. As you all know, the first and most important announcement is tomorrow night at 7 p.m. is the Megillah reading. Now, we're going to be doing the Megillah reading in 7 different languages tomorrow. Not the entire Megillah reading. As you know, before sections will be done. Right now, we have commitments for Ukrainian, Romanian, Urdu, French, Spanish, German, and Hebrew, of course. So please come,
That's incredible.
It's wonderful, it's wonderful. And I'll be honest with you, the ladies who are doing Ukrainian and Romanian used to do it in different languages, but in view of what's going on in the Ukraine, they did not want to give visibility to Russian. So they switched the languages. So we will do a short ceremony as part of our Megillah reading to show solidarity with the people of the Ukraine. So please come tomorrow night. The groggers are there. I asked the board meeting, are you sure you know where the groggers are? Yes, I do. The books are there. I know where they are. So all that's missing is all of you to be there. And so please, it's a lot of fun. There are women Tasha are going to come. For those of you who cannot make it tomorrow night, I will tell you the truth. There is women Tasha to go with your challah for tonight for Kiddush. So I want to make sure I couldn't bear. I know people have working commitments and we're happy for that. So anyway, the Purim Carnival begins. It's a regular school day for the kids. Bring them at 9. We will spread them out around this room. Thank God we have enough room. We will do the Megillah reading, and then they will have party. They will have carnival from 10-ish to 12-ish also as well. The teachers have been assigned what their assignments. Shirley is doing prizes as she always does. So look at that. Robin, you're going to set music like you do?
I'm going to do a special thing
Right
about
there.
music with the kids.
Okay. And so, in addition to that, we have the games are in one of the rooms. The prizes are in another room, and we will leave. So if anybody can come a little bit early, I'll be here at 8. And I can certainly use help setting up Blum Hall for prizes and moving stuff around so that by the time people do come here, at least we're set and ready to go. I'm a great fan of we finish what we do and then they can party. I don't want to. A couple of times we haven't been ready and they've had to sit here and wait, and it's So I'd rather we get right to it. If I do say so myself, we have been blessed over the years. We have collected prizes, very many prizes. I'm really pleased. So once again, if you can give us Sunday morning, parents, volunteers, we'd love to have you come and enjoy this. It's a lot of fun. It's a very old-fashioned carnival. We don't have too many involved things, except this year, for the first time, the moon bounce has been donated. Yeah. And so we have 2 moon bounces, one for the big kids and one for the little kids. The little one belongs to us, but the big one is important. So that's all I have to say. And Robin, anything to add?
Do you want people to not park in the parking
Oh,
lot?
yes. That's it. The parking lot will be roped off. That's why I'm coming in early.
Okay.
We have banners that I can string across both sides. Because God forbid something would happen with someone coming in and we're playing and the kids are there. But they'll be parking on the street. I know the church across the street is having services, so it could get a little bit tight, but there's side streets here.
Oh, yeah.
Buena Vista is a huge street.
Clark has got a lot of parking
Yeah.
also.
Exactly. So, all right, I think that's all we need. Would you all please rise to the call to prayer, the board, please. Page, what happened, page 146, please. Help. Yes. La 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 Please turn to page 151. Let us read together at the top of the page. Everyone, as you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me? Did you mean to struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Please turn to page 152 to the watcher of our faith, the gift we gave to the world, the concept of the one God. Soon, the COVID restrictions will be over and I'll be able to march, and we'll be able to march again. But for now, we're here. Please join us for the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kivod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Praise to his name, whose glorious kingdom is forever and ever. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Oh Davidu, oh Davidu, oh Davidu Chai. Oh Davidu, oh Davidu, oh Davidu Chai. Oh Davidu, oh Davidu, oh Davidu Chai. Am Yisrael Chai. Ay, 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 Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael. Please turn to page 154. The V'ahavta prayer begins, you will love the Lord your God, of course by extension each other, with all your heart, physically, with all your soul, and with all your uniqueness. Each of us has the ability to show love in our own unique way. Physical? Yes. Spiritual? Most definitely. But I think most importantly, unique. Let us use our uniqueness to show unique forms of love, caring, and giving, and doing. The V'ahavta, everyone, on the top of page 154. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol mirdecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anoki mitzalecha hayom al levavecha v'shinatam levavecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'beitecha uvlektecha b'derech uvshachtecha uv'kunecha uvshartam le'ot al yedecha v'hayu letotachot b'neinecha uktatam al mizuzot beitecha uv'yisharecha תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם, amen. Please turn to page 158. Yichamocha, the song of the sea. Who is like you, God? Who has enabled us to be free, enabled us to be free of our enemies. But we're not allowed to cheer. We're not allowed to say, ha, 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 we got you. Instead, we just say, thank you, God, for making us who we are. Please join us from Yichamocha at the top of page 158. Ay, 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 Yahweh, ay, 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 Yahweh, Please turn to page 161. Let us pray together at the top of the page. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's troubles. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts, eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. In the Hebrew, Baruch atah Adonai, haporech sukat shalom, aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim. Please turn to page 162. The Vishamru talks about Shabbat being a time of rest. But I think we need to extend the concept of rest to the other 6 days of the week. It's not enough. One day is not enough to bring us back. Many of us get up too early in the morning, stay up too late, do things, helping out, all sorts of things. So once again, the prayer says the children of Israel, that's us, will guard Shabbat. So you have to preserve, you have to find. The Pirkei Avot, one of the books of the Talmud, which is a tremendous book on ethics, says each day find a time to study. Now, for many of you, studying doesn't mean rest. So let's just leave study alone and substitute the word rest in it. Same thing. Each of us need to find a time period every day to rest. Now, I know what you're thinking. Rabbi, I don't want to lay down and go to sleep. If I go to sleep, I'll be gone for 4 or 5 hours. No, that's not what I'm saying. Rest doesn't mean sleep. Rest means your body is at rest. So if you can find a way to remove some of the stresses, then you can be rested. So for example, How many people like watching horror movies? Raise your hand. Thank you for your honesty. Me too. Well, for you, Erica, that's job, so we'll leave that alone for now. But I mean, I was trying to look. How many? What do we say horror movies? Why do you watch horror movies? What, it's like I like Jurassic Park up to the point where the Tyrannosaurus Rex eats somebody. That's a little bit much for me. But on the other hand, for 2 hours, I'm like so engrossed, or the little dinosaurs that come out, get nailed like I was 12 of them, that kind of stuff. So, but that's the point. For 2 hours, I'm no longer in West Hills, or I'm no longer in Burbank. I'm in some island near Costa Rica, and that's restful. Because as I will, on a statistic, I think it's like 70% of people read the sports section. We used to read newspapers. Read the sports section before they read the news. You know why? Because it's a lot more restful. Because I love sports. Howard knows how much I love sports. But I'm about to say the thing with sports is, so what? Well, the Dodgers lost another game. They're not going to be in the playoffs this year. Frankly, so what? But someone gets killed on the freeways. That is so what? So that's the point. So if watching the sports or ESPN, how many ESPNs are there now? 4, 5, 6? ESPN 1, ESPN 2, ESPN West, ESPN South, I don't know. But anyway, that's why. So that's another form of rest. Watching TV, reading a good book. I'm now reading a most interesting book. I don't know how many of you remember who Ariel Sharon was. Ariel Sharon was the Israeli general, became prime minister. I never saw this book before. It's written by his son. I've read other biographies of it, but not this one. It's fascinating. A son's 500-page compliment to his father, and it's not overly, Pollyanna. It's really talks some deep things. It's not too complimentary about certain other Israeli leaders, but it's very complimentary. But it's so much fun to be. All of a sudden, I'm 1948 in Israel, but I'm sitting in 2022. I said 2012. It's been a long day. 2022, Burbank or in West Hills. So read, but just find rest. Okay, everybody, page 142 of the Mishnah, please. Sorry, Robin. I wanted to finish my thing before I sneezed. Will you all please rise? We are not out of the woods with the pandemic. It's there. In addition, the flu is upon us. I've been hearing the advertisements for the vaccination against pneumonia. That's still with us, as it is every year. But also there are times when people need healing from emotional illnesses, emotional diseases, hurt feelings, from broken hearts. I ask again, if you know someone who could benefit from a prayer of healing, please say the name aloud and enable us to strengthen our prayers, because there is strength in numbers. Enable us to share, when you say the name aloud, in the most important mitzvah of all, Pikot Nefesh, to save a soul. And most importantly, to help heal yourself. When you heal others, you heal yourself as well. Please. Please recite with me the prayer first out of for Moses, for Sister Miriam. El na refanallah, El na refanallah, El na refanallah. In other words, please God heal her. Speaks the Shekhinah, the center of God where healing occurs. And may it be for all those that you've thought of and the others that are on the tips of your tongue. Maybe healing of body, healing of mind, the healing of soul, Refuah Shema, complete healing. And let us all say Amen. Let us continue our prayers of healing on page 371 of the Siddur. The Mishnah Berurah is an ancient formula for healing, brought up to date with the melody of Debbie Freeman. Please join us for the Mishnah Berurah. The source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us Lord Abraham, the Avot, who's in need of healing, Refuah Shema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us Amen. Each of us is unique. Each of us has a special prayer that only he or she can utter. Let us take a moment of silent reflection to make use of our uniqueness and pray from our heart to God's heart. Please turn to page 178. We're about to go on the most important journey we will probably ever take. It is a journey of peace. And we are the vanguard, we are the leaders of this journey of peace. We begin in the middle of page 178. We pray together in English. Everyone, grant abundant peace to Israel, your people. For you are the sovereign God of all peace. May it be pleasing to you to bless your people Israel in in every season and moment with your peace, and let us say Amen. I think tonight, can we do a little Yisrael Goya God?
Let's do it.
Okay, middle of page 179. It is the prophet Isaiah's concept of a world without war. The Hebrew, Lo Yisrael Goya Goy Charev, Lo Yimadu Od Milchama. Please join us. Goya Goy Charev, Lo Yimadu Od Milchama. Goya Goy Charev, Lo Yimadu Od Milchama. Lo Yisrael Goy Charev, Lo Yimadu Od Milchama. Lo Yisrael Goy Charev, Lo Yimadu Od Milchama. Yisrael Goy Charev, Lo Yimadu Od Milchama. Lo Yisrael Goy Charev, Lo Yimadu Od Milchama. Thank you. And if we are going to fulfill Isaiah's dream, we need to be of pure heart and clear mind. Please turn to page 180. 2/3 of the way down the page, we pray first in Hebrew and then in English. Everyone, you ratzon, Imri Figion Libi, Ufanecha Adon Surva Goali. In the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart, be acceptable to you, Lord, my rock and my redeemer. And let us say Amen. Before we finish, why do I say Lord and you guys all say Adonai? Because I'm not reading. This is one of the few prayers I remember from my Hebrew school days. Yeah. And that's why I just say Lord out of muscle knowledge or muscle research. So that's why. So I apologize. Yes, Adonai is a better translation, but I learned it differently. We close this section of the service with a paragraph that is the last paragraph of the Mourner's College. But while there it's giving hope to people who have lost, here it's giving hope that all will join us in peace. There's an extra phrase, I'll call you Tevel. And this is where we formally ask all the people of all the nations of all the world to join us in peace. Let us pray once again in Hebrew and in English. Osei Shalom B'Mormav, Hu Yaseh Shalom, Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael, V'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, B'Imru Amen. May the one who makes peace in the high heavens make peace for us, for all Israel, and all who inhabit the earth. Let us all say Amen. You may be seated. I'm going to talk about the Torah portion a little bit, then I'm for sure going to talk about Purim and tomorrow night. The Torah portion begins with God telling Moses to tell Aaron and the priests that they are to keep the fire burning on the altar, the sacrificial altar. But then he says something interesting. He says, but keep the fire burning inside the altar. So it makes sense. All of us who have gas stoves, that makes lots of sense. You keep the gas on, it's going to make fire if it goes up between the things. But I think there's something much deeper in there. What he's saying to the priests is, show the people your passion. Show the people your fire. Show the people that you understand that they need to do sacrifices as part of it. But don't get bored. Don't lose it. Certainly people after a while just get bored with what they're doing. The job becomes, what was that word? He telephoned in, usually in sports, he telephoned in the game, or he telephoned in the lesson plans, especially us as teachers. We hear that sometimes. It's not a nice thing to say, but unfortunately it's true because people get bored. So what God is saying is make sure, Aaron, that your priestly cadre always understands the importance of passion, the importance of making sure that this is not routine. There's a routine to it, but that it doesn't become so routine that they lose sight of the importance as being not only leaders of the prayers, but being there for the people. And understand, and burnt offerings are very interesting in Judaism. The first offerings that are given are buy a lamb, buy a cow, buy a goat, buy it, pay for it, do it. But right away, that was last week, right away it's something interesting. Then there's the meal offering. So I make jokes about it. Probably God will get me, someday. But why do they have a whole thing on bread offerings? The grains and the thing. Well, just because the priests needed that pita to put their lamb in, but because they could eat whatever was left over. Thank you. Well, that's my point, salting. But seriously, this whole section was for people who were too poor to afford the meat and stuff. And once again, God is teaching us, in those days teaching them, of course, as well, that you have to be careful and to be aware of all the people who come before you, all the people who have sinned and need to make a sacrifice. Nowadays, we don't do sacrifice. We do two things. We pray and we do tzedakah. And that's for a whole reason. But I want to make the point. We are to care for each of us. And we are to care of each of us. And to understand that some people are wealthy and some people are not quite so wealthy. But their tzedakah is as powerful, as important as those of the wealthiest. You know, there's a section of Deuteronomy, we'll get to it in 6 months. And that section says the covenant was made at Mount Sinai for the princes of all the tribes, and then the water carrier and the fire starter. So why the princes in this? Because the water carrier was the lowest of the low, and of course the princes of the tribe were the highest. And what is making a point is that the covenant is there for all of us. So that's the Torah portion, to make sure that we keep the passion of Judaism and we don't let it become either stale or routine. And that's where I want to segue into, well, traditionally Purim was Wednesday night and all day Thursday. Now you're going to say, but Rabbi, how reform are we that we put on Saturday? Well, I was not happy the first time someone proposed it until I looked up in Talmud, and the Talmud says your goal is to make sure as many people as possible can hear the Megillah reading. We are a working congregation of working people. Wednesday night ain't going to hack it. And I know for my wife, it was a fortunate scenario, and they did have their attendance was terrible. So we're having it tomorrow night. You guys have no excuse, unless you're working on Saturday, and I don't want to hear about something. But you have no excuse. Bring friends, bring dates. I don't get bring olives, no. But anyway, bring your significant others, and if you don't have a significant other, bring yourself. There will be some single people here. Anyway, so now I start. So what is the overwhelming? How many people do not know the story of the Book of Esther? Raise your hand. Everybody knows it. I mean, I'm looking over a student in our school. I'm looking over someone who knows a scholar. I'm looking over board members. I know. Okay, so you all know the story. So okay, cut to the chase. So what is the most important sentence in the entire Book of Esther? Nobody better say, let's eat. Good. No, that's not it. The most important sentence in the entire Book of Esther is, there is a people who are scattered and spread out through your kingdoms. They follow their own laws and do not follow your laws. Oh, wow. That's like a slogan for anti-Semitism throughout history. And there it is. And I'm sure the reason the rabbis took the book in, because God isn't mentioned. In that entire book of the Tanakh, God isn't mentioned. The closest is Mordechai says, if you don't help us, our help will come from someplace else. Doesn't say someone, someplace else. But that's it. So the rabbis made sure that the book was in there to warn us about life outside of Israel. Now, I don't want to get into a discussion about America being different, but I think it is, but that's once again another thing. But that one phrase is terrifying. It is so terrifying that the rabbis put in the entire Talmud another one sentence, or another, I don't want to say punchline, but another one sentence. Dina Malkut Hadina. The law of the land shall be your law. And the commentary is, yes, except if it interferes with your Judaism. But if you have a choice between a law and the Jewish law or no law, go with the civil law. Why? Because it makes us good neighbors. It directly counteracts what Haman says. Now you can say Haman was doing that because he hated Mordechai, and I don't agree with it. I don't disagree with you. I agree with you. But that's not the point. It's there in writing. Now, a good example, in New York, I don't think anybody here is from New York. Is anybody here from New York? No, you've all lived in California. Did California always have 7-day-a-week stores? Nothing was closed, except maybe the liquor stores? No, okay, good. Where I come from, growing up, stores were open Monday through Saturday, and everything was closed on Sunday. Because it was called the Sabbath Blue Laws. So here's the problem. I'm a Jewish merchant living in Delancey Street or working in Delancey Street. I can't be closed on Sunday because I've already been closed on Saturday. No, it's a true story.
Yeah.
So the Jewish merchants went to the mayor of New York, or the city council, whatever it was. They said, we observe the Sabbath. It's just on a different day. Can you cut us slack and have us be closed on Saturday but open on Sunday? And the city of New York said yes. Because, once again, the civil law, in that case, the civil law did interfere with the Jewish law, but they did the right thing as neighbors, saying, we will obey your laws, but it interferes. And as a good neighbor, they got the city of New York to agree. And I know for a fact, no joke, my parents won a trip to Las Vegas. They won a trip to Las Vegas, but they had to leave on Monday. And this was, they got notification on Thursday. My mother said, what are we going to do? Everything, no, it was later than that. It was like Saturday. Everything's closed, except for Delancey Street. And we spent the whole day on Delancey Street with my mother buying clothes for the trip to Las Vegas. True story. So that's the point. So once again, you have that idea. Also, in the Reform movement, they don't require a get, a Jewish divorce. All they require is a civil divorce. And the understanding that civil law, in this case, from a Reform point, takes precedent over that. Now we get to the person that we all hate. Who was he? Haman was a descendant of Amalek. Amalek was a Canaanite king who sought to wipe out our people. But he didn't do it frontally like Balaam would do it. He did it sneakily. If an elderly person couldn't keep up with the trek through the desert, they killed them. If a young person wandered off, as young people do, he would attack them and kill them. So that's why he's the only group that we're commanded to wipe out. So I just want to throw that in so you understand the depth of it. King Saul felt bad and let one of the Amalekites live, one of the princes, who in turn made babies, and lo and behold, we come up with them. There's a tradition that in every generation, the letter H will be someone who seeks to annihilate her people. Hitler, if you want to do a soft H, Khomeini of Iran, Khmelnytsky of Poland in the 17th century, all these people it's taken that these are all, every generation someone will rise up to try to kill us. Now, the next commandment about that is to wipe out, how do you wipe out Haman's name? Right behind Danny, there's a whole big box of noisemakers called groggers. Yeah. That's how we do it genteelly. In Eastern Europe, they didn't have groggers. They had shoes. They would write Haman's name on the bottom of their shoes. And all day they would walk throughout. And by the end of the day, Haman's name was wiped out. That's just their way. Me, I wanted that we had a Greek exchange student. And it happened to be, he came to our house in New Jersey during Purim. So we took him to the Megillah reading. Where else it is, right? Hey, here we go. So brand new synagogue, lots of young families, everybody's making noise. They took a table, like the 6-foot table, they dropped it so it made a loud noise. He was not to be outdone. Remember, 1967, 68, they still had metal trash cans. He went out to the back of the synagogue, grabbed 2 metal trash can lids, walked back in, and when they said Haman, he just wailed. It was great. It was fantastic. But that's the point. Make as much noise as you can. I'm hoping tomorrow you will. The only time I'll ask you to stop is, I need to read the rest of Megillah, please. I'll raise my hand, but we'll give the rules when we start. Now, we're supposed to wear masks. What masks? Esther masked her Jewishness. That's obvious. Haman masked his hatred for Mordechai and our people by claiming we were traitors, we were dishonest to Iran. Now, the last one is we're supposed to get so drunk we can't tell the difference between Mordechai and Haman. So I thought a lot about that. What does it mean? And the only thing I can come up with, and I'm still not sure this is the best reason, there is a portion of the Megillah that when I was teaching school, we made it a point not to talk about. When Haman is hanged, the Jewish people of Iran, it's Iran by the way, Shushan is basically Iran, Persia. The Jewish people took revenge on those Persians who would have killed them and killed them first. And the Megillah actually talks about 20,000, 30,000 people were killed. So we tend not to talk about that. So that's what bothers me. In that aspect, when Mordechai gave the order, he stopped being Mordechai and went back to being Haman, who wanted to kill all our people. So maybe that's the building up with hope. Maybe you guys by tomorrow or wherever you'll come over to the answer. But that's how drunk. Or in the understanding that nobody's one way or the other. People do good things and people do bad things. I can go back into the saga of Jacob. Jacob fights the angel, gets a new name, but on the other hand, he gives Joseph a coat and sends him to go see his brothers. So once again, maybe it was being a little bit more sophisticated than that, in the understanding that people are not, you cannot categorize people one way or the other. Basically, tomorrow night, I think I've covered all the basics. Did I leave anything out for celebrating? Oh yes, the most important one. We're supposed to give things to the poor.
Oh.
Yeah.
Shlach manot.
Shalach manot. So we have a thing, and please, if you're coming Sunday or you bring a child with you Sunday, for each canned goods that you give us, we give you for your child or any child a play ticket. If you're coming by yourselves, you're an adult, I'll give you one play and then we'll bounce, have a good time. Anyway, but seriously, that's what we do because we are both now and at Passover time. It's strictly written that we're to take care of those who are not as well off as we are. So if you can, bring us the canned goods and we'll make sure it gets to BTAC. But one thing, make sure they haven't expired. No. Someone left the whole 2 cases of peanut butter out by my neighborhood in there. And I went and I said, "Oh, this would be fantastic." And I started said, "Yeah, eat by November of 2021." And I know what's going to happen. I wouldn't bring it to BTAC because they're going to kick it out. They can't. And I looked up the peanut butter website for Skippy. And they said, "Don't eat it after the stamp on the top of the can." Seriously, top of the jar. So please make sure, if you're going to bring something that we can take it to BTAC, it's our reputation. A couple of times we've gotten nasty calls from them. Please read it before you send it. Okay. Other than that, I can't think of anything. Come in costume. There will be prizes, getting back to tomorrow night. And also come. It is a time of absolute joy and fun in the sanctuary. And that's a part of Purim too. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Chag Purim Sameach. Please rise. Turn to page 586 in the Sidurim. And join us for Alena. Alenu v'shaveach l'adon ha'kol, Akein kedula yoser b'reshit, Shelo asanu k'goyei haratzon, V'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adam, Shelo sam chelkeinu kanu, V'goraleinu k'chol ha'olam, V'anai yivori, U'mishtachavim v'nodim, Livnei melech, Malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We continue on page 588 with the word Shehunot HaShamayim. Shehunot HaShamayim v'yosef ha'aretz, U'moshe yikarov HaShamayim mima'am, U'shkinatu Zav, V'ganei meromim, U'Elohim Eino, Emet Malkeinu, Emet Zulatam, Hagadu V'Torato, V'yadata Hayom, V'Hashevotam, Elevavecha, Yadonai Elohim, Hashemayim Ima'am, Ve'al ha'aretz mitachat sheimah. Please turn to page 591. The words in Ne'emar to complete Alenu. Ne'emar, V'haya Adonai, L'melech al kol ha'aretz, V'yom hahu, Yeh Adonai echad, U'shemo echad. It is my honor to call to mind those who have been transferred to eternity in recent days and weeks, and those upon the yahrzeit we remember tonight. In yahrzeit memory, Jim Moore, Anna Clemenson, Avram Hirsch Hutter, Gertrude Weinfeld, Harold Potter, Samuel Greenberg, Jose Real, Howard Siegel, Esther Block Epstein. Charlie Cohen, who's been translated to eternity in recent days or months, Charlie Cohen, the victims of the Lag BaOmer disaster, Ranit Sinai, Alexandria Rodriguez, Barbara Mata, Aidan Laos, Edward McDaniel, Brenda McDaniel, Megan Ermer, Baruch Ben Moshe, Lisa Eller, Michael Kendall, Baracha Bat Label Miriam, known to us as Barbara Bolton, Nancy Hyatt, Ken Scarborough, Sonia Lunar, Jack Allen, Lourdes, the wife of Carlos, Esther Bejarano, Beverly Bayer, Judy Williams, Bob Cohen, Edith Frankie, Hannah England, Gunnar Marta Madsen, Liv Borg, Mona Erin Suave, Andrea Meyer, Esther Bat Yaakov Ledina, Stephen Santai, Hindi Bat Shifra, Fran Bourne Johnson, George Ashtarikian, Parker Sands, Orvin Shanzer, Mark Hutter, Glenn Miller, Rabbi Jerry Fisher, David Weinstein, Sensei Robert Christoph, Alexandria Van Benzion, Isaac Kolash, Geek Elliott, Robert Dolan, Richard Emerson. If you're here on the outside memory of someone, come forward, or someone who has been translated to eternity, please come. Due to COVID, I can only ask you to stand to here if you'd like to join us for the Kaddish. If there's no one doing it, we will do it as a congregation for those who have no one to say Kaddish for them. Please turn to page 598 of the Siddur and let us recite the Kaddish together. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah v'yalmad yivrach yerutei v'yamrit malchutei v'chayechol v'yomechol chayei dekol beit Yisrael b'agolah v'yizman kariv yiru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah v'vorach v'olam v'omei amayah Yitbarak v'yishtabach v'yitpoar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shnei dekurishah v'ripu Leila Nikol Brechata V'Shirata Tush V'chata V'nechamata Daviran V'yalman V'yiru Amen Yehei Shlomo Rabba V'Shamayah V'chayim Aleinu V'yal Kol Yisrael V'yiru Amen V'useh Shalom V'Roman Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu V'yal Kol Yisrael V'yiru Amen. Yes. Yeah, sure.
Is that true, Olivia?
What?
This week that you fly away?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the choir.
Oh, that's right. You have the choir thing. Okay. I think we could do that. Everybody be seated, except for Olivia. Come on, Olivia. Come on.
Oh, okay.
Everybody, do me a favor. Lift up your hands. Spread your fingers. And if you can't spread your fingers, don't. Okay? Good. Here we go. Shper Chavatenu Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov Imotenu Saruf Kavarech Ed. What's your name? Alicia Bat Ma. Sabat. Okay. That's it. Alba Sarah. Nesiya Tova, Ubriya, Kalkala, Kol Devarim Tovim. And I want to bless their ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and the great matriarch, Sarah, Becca, and Shach. Bless her, Olivia, with a trip of joy, of health, of wealth, and total enjoyment. And let us all say, Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Rama.
No, thank you. Thank you for knowing and telling me.
Well, we've been talking about it, and it's important.
Oh, no, it is. Sometimes, guys, I'm sorry. Sometimes people talk and I don't hear. So I apologize.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, there sure is. The thing I'm concerned about the carnival on Sunday is some kids are already out of town
I know.
because it's the vacation of Burbank. So I don't know. So we'll do the best we can. Look at it this way. I'm selfish. The less kids here, the more you guys get prizes. So come. All right, everybody, because of COVID, we've started, well, you know, our regulars that we do Kiddush now. Waiting for you is Challah, and because it is Purim, I would not be doing my job if there isn't a humantashin in a plastic bag for each one of you, in addition to the challah. I didn't want to put it together because some people don't like humantashin and it will go to waste. So please take, it's there for all of you, and let us begin Kiddush.
It's such a nice effort, it really is. Thank you for that. Baruch
Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri ha'afem. Amen. Baruch Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzon ba'anu, v'shabbat kadisha, v'yahalo ratzon ilanu, zikaron lema'aseh, v're'eshi, kibuyot v'kila, v'mikvei kodesh, zecher tziyah Mitzrayim. Kivanu v'charta, v'tanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kashecha, v'yahava u'ratzon, v'chal ha'amim. Baruch atah Adonai, v'kadesh ha'shabbat. Amen. Don't worry about it, it's not alcoholic.
But it's a dark, it almost could be okay.
Oh yeah, if I wasn't driving, once again, see, there it is, Dina Malkuta Dina. If you drive drunk, you're gonna break the law.
Big trouble.
So you can get drunk. Chabad, one year I stayed at Chabad for Purim, you know why? They have a 4-story dormitory. Yeah, and then we also,
Stay over?
yeah, you can stay over for just that reason. They didn't want anybody driving home drunk, so you stayed. They used it for other things during the year, but they always had several beds there for people, for Purim and Simchas Torah to stay. So they wouldn't violate civil law.
That's
Seriously.
really interesting.
Yeah.
Hamotzi lechem min haaretz, we give thanks to God for bread. Our voices join in happy chorus as our prayer is humbly said. Baruch Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Oh, yeah, I know. Once again, our thoughts and prayers go out to the people of Ukraine. Please keep them in your thoughts and prayers. And if there's something you can do to help, it seems the world is on our side, their side. But once again, we don't know how much more death and destruction will come their way. So please keep them in your thoughts and prayers. And let us pray, Oseh Shalom, our belief that we need God's help to help end this Holocaust. Please. Oseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom, for Israel, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleichem, Israel, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleichem, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom. Shalom Aleichem, Yaseh Israel, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleichem, Yaseh Israel, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleichem, Yaseh Israel. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Chag Sameach. I look forward to seeing all of you tomorrow night.